Let's slow down for a moment. Not because we're tired, but because we've been moving too fast, in the wrong direction. You ever sit in silence, really sit, and feel like the whole world is still spinning inside your head? Like even when you close your eyes, the noise doesn't stop. That's not peace. That's motion sickness of the mind. See, we live in a world obsessed with more thoughts, more plans, more content, more hustle, but Zen doesn't play that game. Zen is subtraction. It's the art of doing less and feeling more. Not feeling more like more emotion, feeling more like presence. Feeling what's actually here, right now. You've been trained to think that peace is something to be chased, something you'll find after the next achievement, the next vacation, the next "you got this" podcast. But Zen flips that. It says, stop running. Peace is not ahead of you. It's underneath the chaos you won't sit still long enough to feel. Stillness is not laziness. Stillness is strength. It's a warrior's breath, deep, rooted, patient. Because anyone can react, but to pause, to breathe before you break, that takes discipline. I'm not saying silence is easy. Honestly, it's one of the hardest things in the world. Because when the world gets quiet, you finally start hearing what you've been avoiding. That voice, that ache, that part of you you've been drowning in distraction and pretending not to notice. But you know what? That's where the healing starts. That's where transformation really begins, not when you run from your thoughts, but when you learn to sit beside them like old friends you're finally ready to understand. There's an old Zen story. A student came to a master, full of questions. What's the truth? What's the meaning of life? How do I find peace? And the master, he didn't answer. He just poured tea, kept pouring, until the cup overflowed. The student panicked. Master, it's spilling. And the master said, exactly. Your mind is like this cup, so full of opinions, fears, noise. There's no room for truth. First, empty your cup. That story hits deep, because some of us are drowning in our own mental overflow. Too many voices, too many expectations, and not enough space to hear our own breath. You want mental relaxation? Start with subtraction. Turn down the volume, not just around you, within you. The present moment is the only moment that's ever real. But how often are we actually in it? We're in yesterday's failures, tomorrow's pressures, text messages from people we don't even like, notifications from apps we don't need, and thoughts we didn't ask for. But Zen says, come back, right now, to your breath, to this exact second. No drama, no judgment, just this. Because here's the truth. When you breathe deep and actually feel the now, you realize that most of your suffering isn't coming from the moment. It's coming from your resistance to it. You're not broken. You're distracted. You're not behind. You're just not here. And that's fixable. Not by adding more motivation or another morning routine, but by slowing down enough to actually live the life that's happening while you're busy trying to fix it. Stillness isn't sexy. Stillness isn't trending. Stillness doesn't sell. But stillness saves people. It saved me. Because the moment I stopped trying to get somewhere, I realized I already was somewhere. And it was beautiful, quiet, simple, enough. So right now, right here, just breathe. And don't chase this moment. Let it come to you.
Let me ask you something real. What are you holding on to right now that's quietly tearing you apart? I'm not talking about the obvious stuff, not the job stress or the bills piling up or the person who cut you off in traffic. I'm talking about the weight nobody sees, the thing you keep replaying in your mind when the room goes quiet, the regret, the shame, the version of you you're still punishing, that conversation you wish you handled differently, that thing they said, or maybe worse, the thing they didn't say. We all carry something. Even when we pretend we've moved on, even when we smile through it and say we're fine. But Zen doesn't care about the mask. Zen asks you to drop it. All of it. Because real peace doesn't come from pretending to be over it. It comes from letting it go. Now, don't twist that. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean saying what happened was okay. It doesn't mean you forget, or that you stop caring, or that suddenly it doesn't hurt anymore. It means you stop letting it own you. There's an old Zen story. Two monks walking down a muddy path. They come across a woman struggling to cross a stream. One monk lifts her, carries her across, and sets her down. They continue walking in silence. Hours pass. Finally, the second monk says, "I can't believe you carried that woman. We're not supposed to touch women." And the first monk says, "I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" That one hits, doesn't it? Because we're all carrying something that should have been set down hours ago, days ago, years ago. But we don't let it go. We hold it in our jaw, our chest, our shoulders, until our body starts speaking the pain we never dared to say out loud. Why? Because we think holding on makes us strong. Because we think letting go means we lost. But I'm telling you, the strongest thing you'll ever do is surrender. Not surrender like weakness. Not like quitting. Surrender like finally breathing, finally unclenching your fist, finally saying, "I don't need to carry this anymore. It's not mine to fix. It's not mine to punish. It's not mine to relive." Letting go is an act of power. It's radical. It's brave. Because it means you trust something deeper than your pain. It means you trust that healing is possible, not because the world is fair, but because you are free. You can walk away from things without being bitter. You can forgive people without letting them back in. You can choose peace over being right. You can choose stillness over the same tired argument you've been having with yourself for 10 years. Letting go means you stop being the jailer of your own mind. Because here's the hard truth. No one else is locking that door anymore. You are. And listen, I get it. Sometimes the pain becomes our identity. Sometimes we wear the trauma like armor. Because if we let it go, who even are we without it? But you were never meant to be defined by what broke you. You're not just the wound. You're the healing. You're not just the scar, you're the story that came after. The moment you let go isn't the moment you lose yourself, it's the moment you meet yourself. But don't wait for it to feel perfect. You're never going to wake up one day and magically not care. You choose, right in the middle of the chaos, the confusion, the aching. You choose to let go. Even if it hurts. Even if your voice shakes when you say, I release this. Even if the story in your head screams that you're not ready. You choose anyway. Because freedom doesn't come when the past finally apologizes. Freedom comes when you decide it no longer controls you. So whatever it is, that moment, that mistake, that person, that version of you that keeps haunting you like an echo in the back of your mind, put it down. You've carried it long enough.
You ever wonder how much of your life is real and how much is just a story you've been telling yourself for so long you stopped questioning it? Seriously, how much of what you believe about who you are, what you're capable of, what you're worth, is actually yours? And how much of it was downloaded into your head before you even had a choice? See, Zen has this wild way of peeling back the layers, not by giving you more answers, but by showing you how many of your questions were built on illusions in the first place. It's like spending your whole life staring into a mirror, thinking that's the world, only to find out the mirror's been cracked and fogged up the whole time. We don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. You think that person doesn't like you? Maybe. Or maybe they were just tired. Or maybe you walked into that moment already expecting to be rejected, and now every glance feels like proof. You think you're not good enough? Where did that start? Was it a teacher? A parent? A failure that happened years ago, but for some reason you still carry it like a name tag on your soul? We walk through life reacting to shadows, ghosts of beliefs we never even chose. And the scariest part? Most of the time, we don't even realize we're doing it. There's the Zen line, the finger pointing at the moon is not the moon. Meaning? Don't mistake the sign for the destination. Don't confuse the story in your head for the truth in front of you. Thoughts aren't facts. They're just clouds passing through the sky. Some light, some dark, some loud, some quiet, but none of them are the sky. You are the sky, not the storm, not the weather, not the temporary noise blowing through your mind on a rough day. But when we don't know that, when we haven't learned to see, we get trapped in the illusion. We think the voice in our head is us. We think the fear is truth. We think the pain is permanent. And so we act from that place. We defend ourselves before anyone attacks. We shrink before anyone has the chance to reject us. We hold back our potential because we're afraid the world will call us out as a fraud. But the real fraud is the mask you had to wear just to feel safe. Zen doesn't hand you a new identity. It invites you to drop the old one, the one built out of labels, expectations, comparisons, all the noise that's kept you from hearing your own soul. Imagine this. You're standing in front of a lake. The water is muddy, stirred up, cloudy. You can't see the bottom, can't even see your reflection. But the longer you stand still, the more the water settles, the more the truth underneath begins to reveal itself. That's your mind. That's what happens when you stop reacting to every thought like it's urgent. You start to see clearly. You start to witness instead of identify. And that's a game changer. Because once you realize your mind is just a tool, not your master, you stop letting it run the show. You stop chasing validation. You stop fighting reality. You stop needing to be right, to be perfect, to be whatever version of enough you were told you had to be. You just are. And that's more than enough. But you've got to be willing to look in the mirror and ask, what here is actually me? And what's just noise I picked up along the way?
Because freedom isn't found in knowing more. It's found in seeing clearly. And when you really see, beyond the thoughts, beyond the fear, beyond the illusion, you'll find something still, something unshaken, something true. That's you, not the voice in your head, the awareness behind it.
You keep thinking enlightenment is some grand event, some magical switch that flips in your brain one day after you've meditated on a mountaintop, mastered your emotions, and read every ancient scroll. But what if I told you enlightenment isn't a moment? It's a way of moving through the world. It's in how you breathe when you're under pressure. It's in the way you speak when nobody's watching. It's in the softness in your eyes when you see someone struggling, and you don't judge, you just see them. You want to find peace. Stop searching for it in the distance. Start noticing it in the ordinary. Because the truth is, the path is not hidden. It's just overlooked. We're all so obsessed with the big picture that we miss the sacred in the small. You ever notice how you wash the dishes? Is your mind somewhere else, already in tomorrow, in some imaginary argument in your to-do list? Or are you there, feeling the water, hearing it run, watching the soap form little galaxies on the surface of a plate? Because that right there is Zen. When you're fully present in something so simple, it becomes divine. We've made life complicated, stacked it with goals and labels and milestones like they're trophies we earn for suffering enough. But you were never meant to chase meaning. You were meant to live it, moment to moment, action by action, step by step. You can wake up at 5 a.m. every day and still be asleep to your own life. You can chant all the mantras and still treat the barista like they're beneath you. You can talk about being spiritual and still ignore your own heart screaming at you to slow down, to listen, to feel. You don't need a retreat. You don't need a robe. You don't need to escape your life. You need to return to it with new eyes. It's in the way you sip your tea. It's in how you hug someone and mean it. It's in how you respond when someone hurts you, whether you react with old pain or answer with new peace. Zen doesn't show up in fireworks. It shows up in the pause before you speak, in the silence between breaths, in the patience it takes to not interrupt someone's sentence because you're actually listening, not just waiting to talk. That's the real work. That's where transformation lives. Because let's be honest, it's easy to be mindful on a calm day. It's easy to be kind when everyone's treating you well. But can you stay rooted when life pushes you sideways? Can you be gentle when your pride wants to snap back? Can you find beauty in an ordinary Tuesday when nothing exciting happens and no one's applauding you? That's the test. Not how high you can climb, but how deep you can stay. Can you be present while folding laundry? Can you find gratitude when you're stuck in traffic? Can you smile, not because everything's perfect, but because for one sacred breath, you remembered that you're alive, and that's enough. That's what Zen asks of us. Not perfection, but presence. And you won't always get it right. You'll forget, you'll get caught in your head again. You'll rush through moments like they don't matter. But every single time you remember, every time you come back to the now, no matter how messy, how noisy, how broken it feels, you're stepping back into the sacred. Because this life, it's not happening later. It's not waiting for you in some future version of yourself where you've figured it all out. It's happening here, right now, in the cracks, in the quiet, in the soft, ordinary, magnificent everything you keep walking past. So slow down, breathe, and let this moment be enough. If this spoke to you, even for a moment, don't keep it to yourself. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who needs a little stillness in their storm. Drop a comment below. Let me know what hit you the hardest or what you're letting go of today. I read them all. And if you want more like this, real, raw, grounding, make sure to turn on the notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Until then, stay present, stay grounded, and keep coming back to yourself.